Drew here to welcome you to another episode of the Glowczewski Experience. This is episode 141. I believe what ended up happening was a couple of episodes ago, I split it into two, and then I forgot the number, and then the last one, I based off of the old number, yada yada yada. Anyways, I I've been streaming a little more sparsely now. My schedule has changed, so I've been giving my body time to adapt to the new schedule. And no worries. Once I'm done, because yeah, it does take. It was a pretty significant change to my daily schedule and grind. So um, yeah, let me bring this down so that way we're catching it. I'm going to be drawing this on the backside of the previous fighter pilot sketches that I did. Since this is all pencils and no inks or markers or anything like that, I don't have to worry about bleeding through the page. So I'm just going to draw on the backside of this. And yeah, man. This time, instead of fighter pilots, I'm going to be doing some like Navy divers and things like that. And again, it's just for reference and see military tactical gear, things like that. Um, and yeah, man, let's let's get to it. I got Nerd Soup playing in the background, and they're just interviewing one of the actors that was on Game of Thrones. Kind of like an extra, but it's an extra who's upgraded to actor, and he played in like Vikings. What's his name? Eric Nolan. So, but I'm already, you know, three-quarters into this interview, so they've already been talking for a while. And but yeah, I'm just gonna play that and start drawing.
Actually learn them. It's good because when I talk, it will suddenly my voice is like this, So it's like I got this sweet like like so I just channel Khal Drogo. Yeah.
Let me see. So
Every
okay,
time.
cool.
Even when I cough now, I will like cough and go like when they like what is it Black Panther, fucking Infinity War? Oh yeah. When all the Wakandans are shouting, that's me. When I cough, I shout and shit.
Aaron, you had a couple questions?
I do have. I've been wondering though. It's kind of like seeing how like you were cast as a wild name, like Viking and everything. I always wondered like what if I was an extra in Game of Thrones, what would I be?
So my friend actually got a job as the casting assistant for season 8, and he literally, when we were on the tour, he was also a tour guide for a different company, and we would end up meeting in the same area. It's a small kind of local area where some of the locations for the show are. And I'd be like, oh, hey, guys, if you want to know, like, this Facebook quiz, what kind of potato am I? This guy can tell you what he would have cast you in Game of Thrones. And obviously, if he calls you a Frey, it means you're completely inbred. But he would just fuck with people, obviously. But, I mean, I don't know, I can't see how tanned you are with Zoom stuff, but, you're talking, Dothraki. How tall are you?
God damn, man, it's gonna be hard to draw these things.
6'3", Dothraki. Boom. Season 8, Dothraki. What are you, 6'1"?
5'9".
Oh, unfortunately.
I didn't even catch that, because I'm over here thinking, who would I be?
It's just really funny. I just recently seen a video of a girl singing American Boy with Kanye West and Estelle, and she's like, I just met this 5'7" guy, and he's just my type. And people are like, what? But back then it was fine. Before everyone started lying on their Tinder.
Now I know why Nash loves that song so much.
Yeah.
So it depends. Like the casting's a really funny kind of thing about the Dothrakis is you have to be a certain size, height-wise. Obviously, you have to be a certain ethnicity as well to obviously help the look. You can't just have a pasty Irish dude in the thing. Because obviously, why wasn't he in the sun for the last 50 years of the culture? But it depends. You would stuff in everything. It depends on what they needed. A veil night.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. that's it. Too handsome for anything else.
Yeah.
I remember
I'm
like
5'7", so I think I could be like a star.
you need a beard. Yeah. Come on,
Yeah,
then.
I'd be like one of those. I'd be one of the Frey sons.
You red race.
Yeah, just one of the idiot Frey sons in the background. Like Walter can't even remember my goddamn name. This whole
And
time,
then you exactly just raging like in the corner. Like is somebody talking?
I've always fancied myself a Stark because I'm typical shorts in the winter, AC cranking in the summer. Just love the cold weather. And then you're like, you need a beard. I'm like, I'm out. Look at that.
No, you don't need a beard. You just need to look. I honestly I don't know the parameters. I know for a fact that the wildlings you need eyebrows, and I'm fucking packing heat.
Bros. I can't do Stark, so.
You know what I mean? So, and they would darken them, and they would give guys like unibrows and stuff, and immediately as so if you stand like that and make this even more harsher, more neanderthal, if that's a word, and then you get all this dark shit on your eyebrow, and then you go, I'm gonna go on TV. Get rid of that.
Who's the more better? You Lannister? How's that one?
You know, they look like a soccer player who's just been signed.
Alright. It's like,
Yeah.
me and red race.
The Lannisters is just, you gotta have the golden locks.
Not everyone in my, like, Catholic Rock when I sport that area has blonde hair, I'm sure.
Right, well, even in the show, Tyrion season 1's got the blonde hair, and then they're just like, get rid of that.
Yeah. Like, is that something, because like I said, you guys, last one, and obviously now it'll be exclusive news, I've never read the books of Game of Thrones. Would something like that affect you? Got, let's say Daenerys is supposed to have purple.
Crazy how much these guys wear all their gear.
And are you like, well, what the fuck? She doesn't even have purple eyes. This is bullshit. Or is it like, oh, I would have liked if she had purple eyes.
Yeah.
That's how it's described in the book.
Well, I think
And
for
then,
me, too, like, watching before reading, it's like I've always, like, when I read it, pictured Daenerys as Amelia Clark, and pictured Tyrion as
Yeah.
so.
I guess that's the same that what I would do. Eventually, I'm an audio book kind of guy, and I know Roy Treese, the guy who played the Wildfire Maker, he's the guy that narrates the books, and unfortunately he passed away. But
Yeah,
I think that's
recently.
let him tell me, But it's a thing of like then behind the scenes of, hey, have you ever worn contact lenses?
Yeah, right. Especially color
Reports,
vision.
have you ever worn special effects ones? You know what I mean? So,
Like, but it bothered Amelia Clark's eyes, so they had to take him out.
yeah, so it's like, well, her eyes are definitely the priority over that guy reading the book of not even purple.
Right, in season,
It's all
in season 2, she's supposed to be bald because of her, walking out with the dragons. In the books, yeah, all her hair is burned off at the end of season 1. So, but people still complain about those things to this day. They're just trolling at this point. You have to imagine.
interesting that you say that. Like with David Benioff and Dan Weiss, they would fuck around in the script with what's about to happen. They would send fake scripts to people, and they told Jon Snow, when the undead white gets brought into Castle Black and it comes back to life and he throws the fire at him. In the script it says Jon Snow's face is now burned and disfigured and loses half of his hair. And then in brackets it would say Kit Harington needs prosthetics for the rest of season 2. And you'd be like, what? And the guy was just fucking with you. But like they wouldn't tell him until the end of the day. I mean, every season Sophie Turner received a script that said that she died. You know what I mean? And it's just like it's just the way they wrote the scripts, and I think it's like the way if you guys wrote a script for each other, you wouldn't write it like
Hey, what's up, Bill?
day one, scene one. No. You'd be like,
What's
okay,
happening, Kangaroo Puncher?
this is what we're saying. You know what I mean? And that's how the scripts were written, in a kind of friendly way of like, Lapsus has in charge of the horses.
How you doing, man?
For Rickon.
It's been a minute. I was thinking about calling you, man.
And then
I was just like, man, it's been a hot minute since I talked to my boy.
You know, it's just like, if
So I'm
you're-
kind of glad you dropped by.
It's gonna do all that stuff. There's no point in putting forced then falls, cut to man getting head cut off. They're like, nah, cool shit. Game of Thrones, cool shit. Next thing, okay, the actual script, and that sort of stuff, you know. So it's really funny that they would like some of the choices they made. Obviously, when Daenerys being bald, I would happily have seen that. But then obviously the iconic Targaryen hair, which I think became iconic for the show. So,
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, traffic is shit. Yo, the reason why I wanted to call, well, just to talk and catch up, whatever. I was gonna ask, man, is there any good animes out right now? The only one I'm watching is One Piece.
Like magic things.
Like, I am not watching any shows except for like the Bad Batch on Disney Plus and One Piece.
Yeah. Oh.
he did it. He opened the. He opened
Yeah.
the
That's a
When you
wound.
get an elephant on TV and you see how fast that show gets cancelled, you know.
Right. Well, I like the way they worked around that. That was one of the funniest memes of season 8, man. Was Cersei complaining about not having elephants.
That's what I miss.
Oh, dude,
That's what I
memes.
miss.
Those first
I
2
think they-
weeks were the most pleasant time I've ever had on the internet.
If there's times in the world, let's say it's a bad time now, kind of a good time, kind of a bad time, definitely a bad time, Jesus.
Yeah.
Also in Pokemon, no. The world
Oh,
is
yeah.
the happiest place in the world.
I've never seen anything like that.
And then the first 2 weeks of movies from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I watched Castlevania.
Throw it in the bin.
Dude, that is.
It was all right. I was thinking about coming on here and talking about it a bit. I wanted to talk about Resident Evil 8 and talk about Castlevania,
Walder Frey's
and I just haven't been on too much lately.
faces any Pokemon people still that play that game.
And I've been trying to think like, I got to draw all this stuff, and it's just hard to carry a thought while drawing.
You really need to nerd suit.
So I'm wondering if I really want to
Yeah,
Log it.
get that. That's a
want to do that, but I mean I certainly have
fun, you know.
want to talk about something.
To the boys, for the boys.
Right. Yeah. That's our Patreon level.
Yeah, paper island trip. So,
So where are you guys?
Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. Yeah, it's like 300 euros to get here.
oh yeah.
But then multiply that by all the
It's funny that
Nash wants.
Once things clears up and everything's cool, good to go, we definitely.
see I like Castlevania.
Second on my list.
Spoilers. I wish they had kept the man dead at the end. Like they made it seem like he died, and I was like, oh okay, that's cool. That's a hero's end, and it's certainly a way to solidify an ending.
Like you said, just to document it, you know?
An ending to the show. It's like, hey, the main one of the main dudes is gone, so like obviously there's not going to be a season 5, and then at the last second they bring him back, and I was like, wait, what? But I've always had my own little gripes with Castlevania. Like there's things I like about it and then things I don't like about it, and it's very consistent throughout all 4 seasons, and that's kind of what I want to talk about is just the things that I like and things that I don't like, and how it's all very consistent throughout the entire show. So I don't know if it's like a showrunner thing or what, but it has something to do with animation, and that's why I want to talk about it and just kind of get my thoughts out there.
They will have like Disney where it's like one day it'll be on fire and one day it won't be.
And there's certainly going to be more seasons, but it's not good. I doubt they're ever going to revisit those characters anymore. Like maybe Alucard because he's like can live forever or something. But other than him, I'm sure like they'll probably do different timelines, different characters, things like that.
Arena. And that idea came from Christoph Hibju, I think. So yeah, it'll be open at the end of this year. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan. And really good to have new things to show show is done now, so I can talk about everything. The stuff that I refrained from telling people in 2016, I can now go, actually, I was lying to you guys the whole day. Jon Snow is alive. So,
Awesome, yeah. I'm gonna set that up. The hell of a trip.
Do you have any more questions there?
No, you got it?
Yeah, we had this final one. Before we wrap things up, this question here from Valley, Dark Kitty Art. How would you say?
Yeah, there's just things.
Career,
I guess I could just talk about it. Let me turn the volume down on this video, so that way I'm not talking over it. But yeah, the thing that I was saying, thinking about it, or the thing that I've always had a problem with Netflix is like it's all like, hey, give them the bombastic shit, but then there's like these long periods of like nothing happening. There's a lot of story happening, but there's like no animation, no quality, and then all of a sudden when the action scenes pop off, all of a sudden there's all the animation and all the stuff. But I think it was like season 2, they had like 4 episodes of like nothing going on, and they were just sitting in a library reading books and talking and shit, which is like great for character development, but not. Yeah, see, I've been wondering if I want to start writing these things down. That way I can kind of keep a log and kind of go through them one by one. But that's all, is like, it seemed like the show was, I don't know, it had like high points and low points consistently throughout every episode, and it seemed to be the way that they were telling the story. And I was just like, man, I wish that they could have just evened it out and made a solid episode every episode rather than having some high points and low points. Kind of disperse the animation and throw some quality things, because there's, you know, little things like talk cycles and walk cycles that they had just had no effort put into them. You know, when they were speaking, there's no animation to them speaking other than the lip flaps. But then they'll go and, you know, do backflips and fly through the air and shit like that. And it's like, okay, so you have animators on scene, but you have no character animation as far as like when they're talking to one another or when they're doing all this great story shit, that they're not being animated. They're just kind of deadpan talking. And, you know, part of it also has to do with the voice acting. Like, it all just, especially in the earlier seasons, it was all very just very monotone. Like, there was no emotion in any of the talking, really. And it seemed like they would just throw in the word fuck, and then all of a sudden it was like, ooh, a cartoon said the fuck word, oh my god. And like, that's how they kind of got like through that. It was like relying on curse words, and which is like never a good thing. Like, you know, I watched the series like a few times, and every time I would watch it, I just remember being like, oh, okay, so they threw the fuck word in there in order to like kind of get your attention. And oh, this is a edgy cartoon because they're saying curse words. And then even in the last season, like, what was it, the first episode? The girl, Cypher, she starts cursing. And she's, oh, look, you made me a person who cursed. And then she has like a whole tirade of her going off cursing, which is kind of funny. But it's also like, okay, you were just like, oh, hey, look, we're a show that does curse words. Like, look at Netflix allowing us to say all these curse words. This isn't for your child's animation. And it's like, oh, you know, I don't need curse words to make a show good. Yeah. But, you know, there was good things and bad things. I don't want to make it sound like it was like all bad. And I'll probably have to like start writing these things down and kind of hitting notes as I draw, so that way I can kind of draw and make sure that I say all the things that I want to say, because I know it sounds like I'm shitting on it. But like most recently for this one season, I just went back and I watched all the seasons before I watched the fourth one, and I was like, holy shit, this is actually all really good. Like I was like, man, this story's really good. Like get my gripes out of the way, but um and then I realized, oh, I'm in season 2 already. I was like, no wonder I didn't like season 1. It was so short. And then season 2, it picks up right after 1, and then 3 picks up right after 2, and it's like, oh, okay. Like had seasons 1, 2, and 3 just been one single season of like 26 episodes or something, it would have probably been a masterpiece or something. But because they do a season and then they break it up by 1 or 2 years, but they're picking the story up right where it left off, it's kind of like, oh man, I'm a little bit taken out of the story now because I haven't been here for a few years, for like a year or two, and now I'm expected to kind of just jump right back into this story and really like it and dig it. Um, so instead of playing like you're trying to play catch up, but there really isn't much to catch up to. It was just weird that I was able to enjoy it by binge watching all 3 seasons in a row before the fourth season. I don't know. It was just weird. So it's like it has like good points and bad points, and I was just like, man, you know, the fact that that's going to be the last season, I'm like, okay, so they're not going to have like an opportunity to really make it more dope, and we'll see where they go moving forward when they start something new. But if that's the way that they're going to execute the shows, I don't really know if I can expect it to ever be anything more than like, oh, we dropped the F word, we got your attention now, don't we? Like like if that's all the show's ever gonna be, it's like, all right, like I'll watch it, but you know, I think a lot of it is being spoiled by like masterpieces like Cowboy Bebop, where you have voice acting in there and all the talent and everything, the animation, things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, same thing with the voice acting and the animation. Like every episode is just super strong, and those shows are 10, 20 years old. So I would think that at this point, like people who try to make these animation shows like Castlevania, they watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and Cowboy Bebop just like I did, and they would want to make something like that. So they would look at those and be like, "Oh, what made those great? Okay, let's do that, but let's just make it about, Castlevania shit with vampires and fire and blood and shit." And that is definitely not what I got. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like I got to write this down so that way I can kind of balance out all the negatives and the positives together. Because I don't want to just shit on these things. Because that's certainly not my point or not my takeaway. I thought it looked great, you know, especially when I saw the trailer for season 4. I was like, holy shit, this looks fantastic. And then I even noticed on some of the fight scenes at the end that they hired out like a different studio to do some of the animations. Like when the vampire chick was doing her whole thing, her fight scene with Isaac and all that stuff, and when Isaac was raiding the castle, like they hired a different animation studio to execute those parts, and it was like, well, that's what you could do with money, with all the money and success they got from the first 3 seasons. It was like, okay, we could hire out as a studio to focus on these fight scenes. And so I think it happened like 2 or 3 times where the animation like changed noticeably. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, so Castlevania, it was dope. Like I enjoyed it all in all. I think I just set my expectations too high. You know, just being a fan of the video games back in the Nintendo, Super Nintendo days. You know, Castlevania just like I hold it in high regard, so I just expect a lot from it. You know, it's funny. I tried working for what is it, Powerhouse or whatever, the animation studio that makes those. I met them back in 2017. I tried to work for them and get a job with them and didn't get it. So it's like I'm not even good enough to be working with those people. So I don't feel like I have any like right to sit there and judge them on their work, you know? Because like they looked at me and was like, nah, no thanks, bro. It's like, damn. Feel my need for anime because there isn't much at this point. Yeah. So that's it. That's just it. That's why I was gonna hit you up earlier, and I was just gonna be like, man, is there anything to watch? Cause I'm like, I got like nothing to watch. I'm watching The Bad Batch, and that's good. Like it is what it is. You know, it's taken me all the way back to the Clone Wars, and I didn't watch the Clone Wars. And plus, it's like, god damn, man, Clone Wars came out like 20 years ago. We're still watching this shit. Like, they're still pulling shit from here, which is impressive. It's not a bad thing at all. But yeah, it's weird, man. Oh yeah, that's one that I need to. I started watching. I watched like the first half. Jupiter's Ascension or something like that. So, damn, what episode am I on? I think I'm on like episode 4. That's actually one that I keep telling myself like, oh yeah, you got to go watch that because I'm liking it. Oh shit, Army of the Dead is on Netflix. I was looking for it on HBO. Oh shit, I gotta watch that. Army of the Dead is at Dave Bautista with what's his name? Zack Snyder. And Love Death Robots came out too. I haven't watched that either. So there's a couple things to watch. But where am I at with Jupiter's Ascend? Jupiter or something. Jupiter's Legacy. Okay, so I've watched 3 episodes. That's it. No way. I could have swore I've seen like 5 episodes, maybe. Either way, I'm about halfway through the series. Oh, minus the daughter. See, I don't know nothing about the daughter yet. I know she's like a junkie or something, but I'm only halfway through. What about the Friends reunion? What are you talking about? Is it? Are you talking about? Is that show? Jennifer Aniston show actually having a reunion? Or are you saying like in life, like an actual Friends reunion? Oh shit. No way. And you watched it in Iraq? Oh my god. Like I remember my mom used to watch that show. So I've seen it just from her seeing it. Like they watch that and like Seinfeld and shit. Are they doing like a whole show about it? Like it's just them, 20 years later or some shit? I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm a huge Courtney Cox fan. Dude, Courtney Cox on that Adam Sandler movie with the football, The Longest Yard. Courtney Cox played his wife, if you remember the beginning of that movie. That girl was fine as hell. Like if I ever had to be like, yo, if I ever had a dream girl, it's Courtney Cox in the beginning of The Longest Yard. That would be like, oh, if I could have that, holy shit. So I'm like a huge Courtney Cox fan. So I'm gonna root for her no matter what she got going on. I mean, I understand she's probably like 30 years older now. I don't know what she looked like, but she can't be all that bad, right? Hey, what's up, JJ? It's all good over here, man. We're talking about the Friends show. I guess they're having a reunion. The show that used to be on air like 30 years ago. They're all the whole cast, I guess, is getting back together. So crazy how shows do that now. Like I don't think they ever did that shit for like the old shows back in like the 50s and stuff. They didn't have like everyone was probably already dead from smoking cigarettes and drinking and shit. They were already 50 when they were doing their acting. So they couldn't even afford to do like a reunion because they were all half of them in the grave. Holy shit, man. These guys have so much gear. Oh shit. Holy shit. So yeah, that's like next week. Okay. So this comes out like that. This guy has this coming out. Yo, this shit is hard to understand. Like these suits are everything is so dark. It's hard to see where one thing ends and another thing begins, but yeah, that's the point for right now. Hopefully I'll find like a cleaner picture that can I can kind of see what all these you know, all these pouches and patches and tubes and all this other shit is actually running to. Whoa, you lost interest in Megalobox? You were telling me about that. I remember you said you were like 3 episodes in or something like that. No way. The first season was so good. Like you could spoil it for me. Why no interest? You know, because I was hoping to catch it once it's on like Netflix or something. What happened to what other dude? Talking about the. Oh, JJ? I don't know. He might still be there. That's what's so weird about this streaming thing. I can never see like who's in the chat or not. It's not until people like start talking that it's like, oh, okay, now I could see who's here and who I'm talking to. But it doesn't tell me like, oh, they're in or they're out. It's so weird. But yeah, JJ's cool, man. He pops in from time to time. Okay, so yeah, he probably just dipped in and out. Yeah, he's I forget how many. I think he's like 7 hours ahead of us. Like where he's located at in the world, he's like seven hours ahead of us. So he it might be like midnight where he's at or something. There we go. So yeah, sometimes a lot of people just pop in and out. Like I guess they'll watch like a few people over the course of the stream or over the course of like them being on Twitch. They'll they'll pop in, say what's up, and then they'll dip out, go watch somebody else. They'll probably say what's up to them over there, and then they'll pop back in like an hour later and see like, oh damn, you made some they'll be like, oh you made some headway with this picture, and it's like, yeah, it's been like an hour. So yeah, people just kind of come and go. I've gotten used to it. I've gotten really used to how Twitch works. People will follow, and then I'll gain some followers, and then I'll come back on another day, and I'll see like I lost a couple followers. I'll be like, wait, what? It's very very like fickle or something. I don't know. And that's the thing is like no one's ever like, oh, I'm following because of this, or I'm not following because of that. Like, it just is what it is. So I've kind of learned to just reserve myself to just do what I do what I can do, and hopefully let it get better. There we go. I can finally see someone's left arm. Really? You haven't been playing? No more Apex? Did you ever play Warzone? I think you said you stopped playing that a while back, right? You getting worse at playing? Ah, shit. Well, that's not good, man. I mean, the way I always look at anything I do is always like, always do it, always do it better, you know? So it's like, you gotta, I mean, it's unfortunate, or maybe it's not the best way to put it, but you kind of have to treat anything and everything that you do as a, almost like a job or something where it's like, uh, constantly improving. So even if it's video games, it's like, okay, where am I good at and where am I bad at? So once you can identify what you're bad at, you can focus on fixing that stuff. Like I remember when back when I was playing video games and I had the PlayStation 3, uh, I was playing that fighting game, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate or something like that. And I sucked at that game. Like I sucked, and I hated it because I really liked the game. Like I really liked playing it. I was just really bad at playing it. So I started going to the practice room. I started actually practicing with characters and learning their move sets and all the crazy amount of button smashing that you have to do to pull off certain combos and moves and everything like that. So that way I can get better. Um, and that's when my PlayStation 3 crashed. I got the red ring of death on it, and that's when I stopped playing video games. But I was in the middle of doing that, you know, because even though it's just gaming, it was like, man, I want to be good at it. So, uh, you got to find a crew, man. You gotta find a crew and then hit them up and be like, yo, I'm playing at this time. Let's get a game going or something. I, th- I think that's how people are doing it these days.
precious treasure humanity has ever possessed. 2 golden records, one carried on each, identical in every way, and containing within them us. 115 images, both black and white and in color, displaying mathematical and physical quantities, our solar system, our DNA, and our reproduction, as well as many of our more intimate qualities. What it means to be here, our food, our architecture, animals, even portraits of us, just doing little things, shopping, eating, running, learning, smiling. Accompanying them, a collection of sounds, waves crashing against their shores, winds howling across fields,
Oh,
rolling
shit.
thunder, and the songs of birds and whales,
Well,
as well as
I don't know.
sounds of
I
our
think that's how you do it. You know me. I don't play video games anymore, so I'm not big on it.
consumer approximately 6,000 years ago, and ending
But I watch a lot of people play.
in which we say,
A lot of them are playing like Warzone and Fantasy Star Online and shit like that. And it's all, you know, it's all that social gaming and shit. You know, everything that was like before I stopped playing video games back when all that stuff started happening. So I kind of never got into that.
timeless, melancholy blues, etched into their face, a map back home, our solar system triangulated by 14 neighboring pulsars, each labeled with their own pulse rates, each line representing their approximate distance from our sun. To its side, an etching of the hydrogen atom in its 2 lowest states, a line through each end to illustrate that the transition from one state to the other can be used as a universal reference of time to play a record, an instruction manual, and return to sender address. In about 40,000 more years, they'll come close to their first stars.
All right, hold on.
We have a little time to wait. And I've been setting a lot of mine, I'm wondering the same question. If I were given the same privilege to select a collection of images and sounds to serve as both an introduction to me and a summation of
There we go.
experiences and tastes, what would I choose? Anyways, that's what I'm gonna spend the next however long I feel like talking cool about, so put in your thinking caps and strap in. I'm really smart, and this is Jack and Daxter. Perfect circles.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I I would just say like keep at it, and then you know sooner or later you'll find like a crew that you guys play at the same time consistently. Like I don't even know how the social aspect of gaming works. Like I don't know if you have an app on your phone, and maybe you could hit them up like when you're on you know while you're still at work, you can message them and be like, hey, I'm gonna be you know, I'm gonna be heading back. I'll be available at this time. Like, or let's game tonight, and then maybe that's how that works. Oh shit! Is that what's happening? They strap their fins to their left arm. See, this is why I do these studies, is so I can see just how things are working. But it looks like he has these straps on his arm here. And where's my eraser? So he has these 2 straps on his arm here, and they look like they're straps that tie to his fins. So that way their fins kind of hang off their left arm. I have the fins on the left side here, but I didn't know what they were doing or how they were strapped in. But it looks like it's the straps on the arm. Alright. See, this is why I do this shit, man, so I can figure this stuff out. And now I know.
So with gifts unwrapped and parents confused the hug, I hurried off to my room to set up my shiny new PS2 and the little CRT TV I was given to play on, feeling resolute that I was the luckiest kid in the entire universe. The first game I tried to play was Crash Bandicoot Rapid Cortex. It was a disc with blue on the back. My dad was very color. PlayStation 2 games come in both CD-ROM and DVD file, designated by the color of the back of the disc, which I wouldn't learn until much later had a huge impact on
Oh, well, that doesn't sound like someone who's fun to play with. He gets mad at you when he fucks up. Yeah. I remember when I was in college, I, you know, I'd go to the dorms from time to time to hang out with some fellow students, and I was playing video games with this guy once, and we were playing Dragon Ball Z, uh, probably one of the Budokais or something like that. I don't know. And I remember he would get mad at me, like I hadn't played video games in a long time, and I hadn't played that game specifically ever. But he still, and he knew that. But I was like, all right, I'll play. I don't care. Like, yeah, let's play. So he handed me the remote, and then I would play. And he'd be like, oh no, you gotta do it. Like he would like get mad and upset that I'm not playing it correctly, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm only gonna be here for like a half hour. Like I'm not gonna sit here and master the game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he'd get upset at me. It was just like, oh, okay, I don't wanna. People like that just aren't fun to hang out with.
I have spent my life searching for the answers that my father and my father's fathers failed to find. Who were the precursors? Why did they create the vast monoliths that litter our planet? How did they harness eco, the life energy of the world? What was their purpose? And why did they
Oh,
fail?
this guy's talking about Jack and Daxter.
Ask the
Sweet.
plants, and they do not remember. The plants ask the rocks, and the rocks do not recall. Even the rocks do not recall.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, don't play with that guy. But yeah, you're gonna have to get good in order to play with like good players. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I guess it's kind of a catch 22. Yeah, online gaming is tough. When I was playing Ultimate 3, uh, I would face off. I'd jump onto the online matches, and then I'd run into somebody who just plays Wolverine, and I just get Berserker clawed the entire time. Like as soon as it was like, round one fight, this guy would just be like Berserker claw, Berserker claw, Berserker claw. Like he would just Berserker claw me all the way through until he got the W, and then I kept getting matched up with him, and that was all he did. No matter what I did, I could not. I had no answer for that. And it was just like, well, this isn't fun. So yeah, online gaming, it's I guess it's tough all over. So yeah, that's rough, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm out back playing with William on the playset while chatting with you. It's a lot of work. Hey, man. Little man is number one, man. He's the priority here. If you got to drop one of us, You know, as quick as I am to say that the sun does shine out of my ass. So you know, don't feel any need to have to stick around or anything like that. You know, play with your kid, man. Who knows? Maybe he'll be the video game. Uh, he'll be your video game partner one day. You'll be old as fuck, and he'll be like the 10-year-old prodigy. You know, barking orders at you. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go secure the package. Dad, you're going the wrong way. Maybe that's all it. Maybe that's all it needs. Is like it's just a timing thing. So yeah, I wouldn't say give up on it because I know how much you like to play video games. But yeah, it is all based on like how much fun are you having. Get them ready for the NHL. Hell yeah. I know, man. I think about that all the time. I'm like, man, he lives so far away. Cause ditto, I'd be over there all the time. Shit, even if it was just to like, you know, watch Lil Will for a minute and then hang out with Lil Man for a minute. You know what I mean? Give you guys a break for a second. I'd for sure be over there like way more often. But yeah, you know. But no worries, man. Time and space. As long as we got enough space between us, but as long as you know we just double up. Like I'm sure we'll watch shit from time to time. Yo, these guys look fucking badass, man. I wish I could. I'm gonna finish drawing these, and I'm gonna continue drawing. Hopefully, I find something that's a little more clear. Cause it's like, okay, I figured out how the fins are strapped on, but there's so much going on that I don't see. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to hang out on this stream like this, you know, from time to time. I've been off for the last couple of days just because I've been trying to renew my passport. I've been running around town trying to figure out how to do it because there's like just weird, dumb complications. But either way, I finished it yesterday. I mailed it out, so hopefully I'll have my passport renewed, which I've been meaning to do for like a couple of years now. So yeah, hopefully I'm back on, and I'll be back on to more regular streaming schedule because I noticed I only did one video last week or one stream last week, and I was like, God damn, that is not cool, you know. Like this is what I'm trying to do, and you know things get in the way, but oh shit. Yeah. Yeah, I tried getting the pictures taken. Like I signed up for it online, so just renew it online. But then you still have to mail it in and do all the other stuff. But at least, you know, online it actually, you know, you just answer questions that they give you, and then they fill out the paperwork according to how you answer your questions. So that way you don't have to worry about filling out the paperwork properly because you're just answering the questions. Honestly, you know, it it was a lot easier than trying to do it manually and try to like fill out the paperwork like on paper. But then I had to go. You have to go take a picture, and I always, you know, I always knew that Walgreens you get to take a picture at, but my local Walgreens, like, they were like, oh no, our machine's broken. It's you know, and we don't know when it's gonna get fixed. And oh well. And I was just like, oh great. And then I go to CVS, and CVS is like, "Oh no, our machine's broken. It's been down for a month. We don't know when it's gonna be fixed." Oh well. And it's like, what? How the hell? And then I looked it up online, and you can get your picture taken at a UPS store. So so I have a local UPS store, and I went there, checked it out, and boom, got my picture taken. I had like 15 minutes until the post office closed, so I hopped on the scooter, scootered over to scooted over to the whatchamacallit, to the post office, and bam, I mailed it out yesterday. So I was like, okay, good, I got that done. So now I don't have anything to hold me back from streaming now. All right, there you go, man.
When asked what he hopes to achieve with Jack and Daxter, he said, "Personally, the
Have
goal
fun
of
with that,
the
man.
partner is to make the other developers cry."
Peace.
Set up in an interview with Planet Views in Jason
It's
Rubin
good chatting.
specifically called out Crash Bandicoot Cortex for having what he called
I'm just gonna sit here and try to figure out
something Naughty Dog simply didn't
diving suits and Navy SEALs and all this shit.
Nothing in my entire life has felt more vindicating than reading the co-founder of my favorite dev studio backing up a critique of a game I had when I was in 6th. Anyways, on the topic of visuals, I think it's time we talk design. Percussion Legacy's designs for enemies, allies, and the environments they dwell within are sick as hell across the board. And again, I think much of this is owed to how much influence the Jack games take from art outside of their own medium and reality. Just as the mountainous forest landscapes of Halo Combat Evolved were inspired by the rain-covered capes of Western Washington, the world of Jack and Daxter the Percussion Legacy was inspired by the misty shores of Japan. Naughty Dog was said to have collected as many photographic reference books on the country as they could get their hands on, and based a great deal of their environmental design around reinterpreting its landscapes into an exaggerated cartoon fantasy world. And the villages themselves were actually inspired by the French comic book Asterix et Obelix. Oh hey, there's a Japanese Wi-Fi. Each village in Percussion Legacy carries with it a terrifically distinct identity, imbuing its architecture and surrounding environments with its respective affinity for eco. Rock Village, home to the Blue Sage, is still one of my favorite video game settlements of all time. Its sheer-faced cliffs overlooking the cove the town is settled upon, with its towering edifice at its center, surrounded by cascading waterfalls and illuminated by the warm glow of torches and smoldering rock cast down from the mountains above, as well as the lightning from its persistent storms, come together to create a fantastically lived-in respite that I can't help but become mesmerized by every time I walk through it. Its characters are
Alright,
fantastic.
I think I gotta go make some coffee anyways.
Really intense, like Isabel Bird in a sophisticated member of an Explorers Guild kind of vibe, and her fit is like one of the coolest in the entire game. The scaling rope she wears around her shoulder and the light attached to her head are both appendages which bestow her defining traits a literal physical form. This is very much a cartoonist's approach to communicating a character's personality through broad, conspicuous visual attributes, and most every character we come across in the game follows the same rule. Gordy and Willard are some of my favorite examples of this. When we make it through the mountain passes of Volcanic Crater,
I love these wetsuits though, man. The lighting that you get from them and the how they contour to the body, it's very like looking at these knee areas because they're the only parts that's really exposed. You can't really see much else on the body other than like a little bit of the arms and the legs. But yeah, maybe that's gonna be the move. Maybe I can study some
I think this is at the heart of why Perpetual Legacy is such an incredible game. It simultaneously demonstrates a mastery in the expression of momentum, impact, and pace, then continually beckons its players to slow down, to admire where they are, to look back on how far they've come. At the end of the game, as our long journey north comes to an end, having discovered that the dark forces that had taken the sages away were in fact Gaul and his sister Maya, we learn their plan to reshape the world in Dark Eco, and to take an elevator to the tallest peak in the entire game to face it. Stood high atop a silo of Dark Eco, the both of them piloting an ancient precursor weapon made on Earth, we fight to save a world we've just spent so long adventuring through. And we can still see it, far beyond even where we are. This is a world, and it's one that I fell in love with. But nothing ever really stays the same. At the end of Precursor Legacy, after the credits roll, we jump back into the game and into a continuation of its ending cutscene, whereupon Kira explains that the tremendous structure on the Precursor Tower Hall perched atop is actually an ancient Precursor gateway that can be opened with a whopping 100 power cells. This is an entirely optional post-game incentive to continue exploring the world, and though it's a pretty compelling one as far as they go, from a point of find, most players are dead. So we scrounge together the few remaining cells we need, proceed back to the tower, and deposit them accordingly. And then this happens. And the credits roll again. This is how you end a game. Utter confusion as to what our heroes unearthed or what it even entailed in their future adventures, but reassuring that future adventures are still to come. And just to be clever, Naughty Dog took the future part of that extremely literally. Welcome to Jack 2.
Oh, this guy's doing the entire Jack series, huh? That was one of my favorite trilogies, man. That's why I liked Drake's Fortune, Nathan Drake, and all that stuff because it was like, whoa, the guys who made Jack and Daxter made this, and Jack and Daxter is the PS2, man. That's when I was playing video games.
Just like its older sibling, Jack 2 begins with Samus' same sagely narration, but there's an immediate deviation in its tone from the beginning of Perpetual Legacy. Whereas the first game is introduced to us by an unsure Samus questioning the very nature of this world, Jack 2 is preceded with a confident, reassuring Samus, certain that the struggles endured on nature are done so for a reason, and certain that Jack can endure the same. Which doesn't bode particularly well for Jack. World of dualities and all. Anyways, Jack, Daxter, Samus, and Kira are in the midst of activating the artifact we've unlocked with 100 power cells at the end of Perpetual Legacy. It's a vehicle. The huge precursor gateway they discovered with it is its mode of travel. But as we soon find out, it doesn't traverse distance, it traverses time.
Frogman. Maybe that's what I need to look up. It's like frogman suits. Let me see if I can move this camera down a bit. There we go.
Remember what I said about good introductions leading with more questions than answers? Well, Jack 2's has to be one of the greatest of all time. Jack and the rest of our cast are heaved into a dark and strange new world displaced hundreds of years into the future by the
too big.
Before deciding if the child is too young to face the test inside and closing the door. But not before Jack runs inside instead, taking it upon himself to complete the test of Marv on the boy's behalf. Later, in the final confrontation with Ford, after he unmasks himself as the story's main antagonist, he reveals to Jack one last thing about the child. That it's him. Now, back to the two Mark sequence. The Oracle who spoke at the gate never actually specified who they needed when they said Error Mar, and again, the use transfers brilliantly to the way it feels to play. Darkjack's means of attack are relegated to these bounding, unelegant blind swipes, almost reminiscent of a wounded animal, chaining together violence as he twists and lunges from enemy to end, as dark lightning crackles around him and electrifies his dusk gray skin with deep black horns. In lieu of weapons, resilience and speed are dramatically increased, and as we develop through the game and exchange metalhead skull gems with the precursor oracle found in Haven's Water slums, this side of Jack becomes more honed, and he unlocks more abilities to use with it, like powerful AoE attacks and passive invincibility. Through this, Dark Jack becomes another material parallel to Jack's growth throughout the game's story, which is as much to do with saving Haven as it is to do with Jack finding his. At the end of the game, with Metalcore defeated and Akira having restored the precursor Rift Rider that the team arrived on, she inputs the coordinates back to Sandford Village and urges everyone to get ready to go home. To which Jack replies, "But we are." Throughout Jak 2's script, the word home is only used 8 times, including this instance, almost exclusively said by its miscreant supporting characters like Sid and Mom, criminals we've met by happenstance and allied ourselves with out of necessity. But there's something about the game's employment of the word home in these contexts that gives rise to the dissociation of Sandberg Village from it. The game begins each of its relationships with a distinct coldness towards Jack, as does the world, but as these characters come to know him, and as Jack comes to prove himself to them, their exchanges
This is
evolve
interesting.
from basic
Now I'm finally seeing
acquaintances
kind
to
of
warmth.
kind of a clear.
And because these characters are dramatized extensions of the world and its various properties, not unlike the characters we meet in Precursor Legacy, as Jack's bond with them strengthens, so too does his tenderness for this new world. The darkness in Jack doesn't make him any less of a hero, in the same way the darkness in Haven doesn't make it any less a home. And that home is worth saving.
Oh, trust me on this. Staying away from any loneliness on that earth, okay?
I sure hope I got this right with the light. I don't know.
It's perfect, Mary. This is the vending machine we found, or will find later.
I just built this after seeing the first one. It's based on what I remember from, honey. The more you think about it, the more it hurts you.
I'll take good care of the child. And don't worry, I'll be back in time for the celebration. In fact, the boy won't remember any of this. But I do remember the part.
Anyways, Jak 3 begins with us being exiled from our home. Jak 3 opens a year after where Jak 2 left off, in the political fallout of both antagonist factions in the previous game having their heads severed from them as pawns, riding the dust to be born anew. A revitalized, more aggressive cell of the Crimson Guard led by Errol, and what Metalheads managed to survive are laying waste to Haven City for control of whatever's left. Its council thinks Jak is the one to blame. This is the most challenging game in the era Legacy, and its opening, clocking in over 8 minutes in length, while we've seen
Okay.
Jak 2's or Precursor Legacies, wastes
So
absolutely
yeah, I
no
think I
time.
finally found a reference that actually has like a little bit of a decent
But because the game presents us with such a dismal world, because it asks so much from
decent
players so
layout
quickly, it gives
of
us a really comforting conductive monologue from Samus
how all
as
this
it
stuff
opens
fits
its face.
together.
In Jak 3's opening, Samus doesn't say anything
And it
new.
makes sense to me.
It
Now
does.
that I'm
It
seeing it this way, I'm like,
speaks like Jak.
oh, okay.
There's no saintly preamble to usher us into the world or to prime us as to what we should expect with the duplicity of storytelling in mind. After Jak is banished from Haven City by Count Yeager, our only antagonist for much of the game, Ashla leaves him with a beacon, assuring him that he'll be found by someone ordering him to stay alive, illuminating just how hopeless the situation for our heroes is. As the transport pulls away, it's revealed that Daxter, Pecker, and Link's interpreter decided to share Jack's fate, and left alone in the area
Yeah, see,
Productions for games worlds instead
this is
based
making
on
sense now.
identity. And the music of Jack 3, featuring both the first game's rich percussive arrangements and the second's haunting melodic synths and strings, resides at the crossroad between its two current chapters. Because Jack 3 is where these vastly opposing identities finally converge. The Chamber is a throne belonging to Damus, or Sapiens, king of the desert city of Spartans, a society of havens refuse left to fend for themselves in the wasteland. An environment so unforgiving that the people
Fuck yeah.
Jack Reese does. Excellent. Another point of this game's conversion between precursor legacy and 2 that I love is the renewed focus on what brought Jack and Daxter into our world to begin with, platform. Through a combination of across the board grander set design, which more often necessitates tapping into the duo's acrobatic side than its predecessors, it
All right, well, that's gonna be it for this one. That'll be it for this episode. What, 2.5 hours? Got a few sketches in. About eight different sketches, 2.5 hours. That's not bad. What is that? 2 hours is 120 minutes plus 26, so 146. 146 minutes total divided by what, 8? Would be 1, 8. So, we're looking at about 20-minute sketches. There we go. Just good to keep that recorded. But either way, yeah, that's gonna be the end of this one. I'm gonna come back and probably just dedicate this whole page to it because really I haven't really understood too much of what I'm drawing as far as like I kind of picked up here that, oh, okay, so they're strapping the fins to their left arm. Got it. And in here, I figured out the layering of the piece that goes behind their head and how it's looped around. And I'm sure all the tubes are feeding through it. That way, they keep the chest piece in the middle, and then these tubes are feeding into there. So this actually kind of clarifies a lot, which I couldn't see because these guys have their guns up, so their arms are blocking everything. But it's like, oh, okay, so I got this down, I got that down, and it seems like everybody always has like an additional tank underneath. Uh, so it's like, okay, so it's kind of like an iron lung with a tank below it, with something basically something that serves as a strap slash scarf, and it's hollowed out maybe, so they could put all these tubes in there, mouthpiece, face piece, all this stuff, and it's just like, okay, cool. I can see how they built upon that. Um, but yeah, so I'll probably do some more. I'll probably look up like frog suits or frogmen or something like that just to kind of get a better idea of it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. And I don't know, I'm gonna grab something to eat and then probably be back on tomorrow. Um, yeah, like I said, like I was talking with Kangaroo Punch earlier, my schedule's changed and things are gonna be a lot different. Won't be able to come on as often or as much as I used to before, doing like 2 or 3 videos a day. But at best, I should be able to do at least one video a day. It's just I've been trying to adjust my sleep cycle and my body rhythms and everything like that, and to help you know support this new schedule system that I have. But yeah, it's been about 2 weeks, and I'm adjusting pretty well to it. And this was just like the first video coming back and doing this, and this is basically what we can expect, except for like the couple of days that I have where I could actually like come in and do a whole bunch of drawing. So I'm gonna try to get those days to do a whole lot more. But until then, uh, yeah, man. G Mr. Drew on all socials. Follow, like, and subscribe. Links are in my bio, as well as my website, gmrdrew.art. You can see everything that I do on there, and gonna be updating that soon. And what else? And even though I'm just working on studies lately, these are studies that are going to be related or relayed over to the story that I'm working on. It's just I like to do these studies so I can understand something just well enough to know, okay, I can kind of do stuff. But all this has like a lot of detail to it and a lot of stuff to it. And what I'm going to be trying to work on is simplifying it and making it so that it's a little more a little easier for me to kind of tackle drawing after drawing. So that way I'm avoiding all the detail, or at least understanding all the detail. That's why something like understanding this just meant a whole lot to me, and even understanding this means a whole lot, because now it's like, okay, I could take that concept and now I could simplify it to whatever I needed to be in order to draw whatever it is I'm going to be drawing. But yeah, so this was cool, man. This was really cool. And what else? Yeah, that's gonna be it, man. uh, Yeah, thank you for watching. Shout out to Kangaroo Puncher and JJ for stopping by, man. Thank y'all. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Love y'all. Peace.